At 6:37 a.m. on the morning of December 7th, 1941, Lieutenant William Outerbridge stood on the bridge of the USS Ward, watching a periscope slice through the water 1,500 yards ahead. He had been captain of this destroyer for just 48 hours. The periscope belonged to a Japanese midget submarine attempting to slip into Pearl Harbor. In 3 minutes, Outerbridge would order his crew to fire. In 3 minutes, they would sink the submarine. In 3 minutes, the United States would fire its first shots of World War II. The Ward was no modern battleship. She was a Wickes-class destroyer built in 1918 at Mare Island Naval Yard. 4 stacks, 1,154 tons standard displacement. 314 feet long, top speed 35 knots, if her engines cooperated. Her main armament, 4 4-inch 50 caliber guns, arranged 1 forward, 2 amidships, 1 aft. After World War I, she spent time on convoy escort duty, then went into reserve in 1921. For 20 years, the Ward sat in San Diego, hull rusting, steam lines corroded, machinery deteriorating. By 1941, she was considered obsolete. Modern destroyers were faster, better armed, better equipped. But when war with Japan loomed, the Navy needed every ship it could get. Ward recommissioned on January 15, 1941. Her crew mostly Minnesota Naval Reservists, 85 men from St. Paul and Minneapolis who had never served on a destroyer. They trained in San Diego, sailed for Pearl Harbor in March. With an obsolete ship and a green crew, nobody took them seriously. The first captain, Lieutenant Commander Hunter Wood, Jr., drilled them relentlessly. But on December 5th, Hunter Wood was reassigned. Outerbridge, a 35-year-old Naval Academy graduate from Ohio with 14 years' experience, took command. His first independent command would soon place him at the center of history. The morning of December 7th began before dawn. At 3:42, Ward patrolled outside Pearl Harbor at 15 knots. The minesweeper Condor worked the same area. At 3:57, Condor flashed a message via signal lamp. Sighted submerged submarine on westerly course. Speed 9 knots. Outerbridge, asleep in his cabin, was summoned. In his bathrobe, he came to the bridge, ordered general quarters, and started sonar sweeps. For 2 hours, they searched, finding nothing. At 4:35, general quarters was secured. False alarm, likely the nervous eye of a lookout. By 6:30, a supply ship, Antares, was approaching the harbor towing a steel barge. A patrol plane circled overhead and spotted something in the water behind Antares. Small, dark, moving. Smoke markers were dropped. Outerbridge was called to the bridge. Through binoculars, he could see the submarine's conning tower, cylindrical hull, moving at 8 knots. It was following Antares, trying to slip through the anti-submarine nets. Outerbridge gave 4 rapid orders. All engines ahead full, sound general quarters, man all guns, prepare to ram if necessary. Ward surged forward, accelerating from 5 to 25 knots in under a minute. The crew raced to battle stations. This was no drill. Men abandoned breakfast, dropped their tools, ran to stations. The voice of their captain was urgent, commanding, real. By 6:45, the number 1 gun fired. A shell passed 100 yards over the submarine. 15 seconds later, number 3 gun fired at 50 yards, hitting the conning tower at the waterline. Water poured into the submarine through the single hit. Ward raced past, dropping 4 depth charges set for 30 feet. Columns of water exploded into the air. Oil slicks marked the submarine's destruction. Outerbridge radioed Pearl Harbor at 6:53. We have attacked, fired upon, and dropped depth charges upon a submarine operating in the defensive sea area. The message was ignored. Ward had a new captain, a green crew, an old ship. Probably a false alarm, officials assumed. Submarine sightings had been coming in for weeks, none confirmed. The Navy did not raise the alarm. At 7:55, 1 hour and 2 minutes after Ward's attack, Japanese carrier aircraft struck Pearl Harbor. 183 aircraft in the first wave hit Battleship Row, Ford Island, Hickam Field, Wheeler Field, Kaneohe Naval Air Station. The Pacific Fleet, at anchor, was caught completely by surprise. 243 Americans died, 1,178 wounded, 4 battleships sunk, 4 damaged. Ward spent December 7th hunting more submarines outside the harbor, dropping over 130 depth charges on suspected contacts. The crew knew what they had done, but without wreckage or proof, doubt persisted. Some believed it was a panic. Others thought it might have been a friendly submarine. But the truth remained hidden for 61 years. The Japanese midget submarines, Type A Wickes-class, 46 tons, 78 feet long, crew of 2, were launched from mother submarines 7 miles outside Pearl Harbor. Ward sank 1. The destroyer Monaghan sank another inside the harbor. 1 ran aground and was captured. 2 disappeared. The 10 men aboard these submarines became the first Japanese casualties of the Pacific War. After Pearl Harbor, Ward patrolled Hawaiian waters, landing troops, supporting campaigns. She was converted to a high-speed transport, APD-16, in 1943, armed and equipped to land troops at island beaches. She fought in Guadalcanal, Tulagi, New Georgia, and multiple amphibious operations in the Solomon Islands. On December 7, 1944, exactly 3 years after the first shot, Ward landed troops at Ormoc Bay, Philippines. Japanese aircraft, including kamikazes, attacked. 1 kamikaze hit midship. Fires spread. Both boilers flooded. Power lost. The crew abandoned ship. 200 men were rescued, watching their ship burn. Later, USS O'Brien sank Ward with gunfire to clear the navigational hazard. The number 3 gun, which fired the first American shot, was placed in storage, eventually displayed at the Minnesota State Capitol. For decades, Ward's wreck lay unknown, until December 1, 2017, when an ROV discovered her in Ormoc Bay, 686 feet down. Her final battle was visible in twisted metal. The Japanese submarine she sank at Pearl Harbor was found in 2002, 1,312 feet underwater, with a 4-inch hole in the conning tower, proof of Ward's shot. Outerbridge continued his career, commanding modern destroyers, including USS O'Brien, and participating in the Normandy invasion and Pacific campaigns. He retired as Rear Admiral in 1957. The men of Ward, Minnesota Reservists, returned home after the war. Ordinary lives, extraordinary deeds. They had fired the first American shot of World War II, sunk an enemy submarine, and survived a ship destroyed by kamikaze attacks, all largely forgotten by history. December 7th, 1941, 06:45. 1 shot, 1 ship, 1 moment that changed everything. Obsolete destroyer. Green crew. The first American casualties inflicted. The first shots fired. A warning that went unheeded. And a legacy now remembered through a single 4-inch gun in Minnesota, and the wrecks resting silently beneath the Pacific waves.